Why don't they ever listen to you? Why are you even back in this maze from hell? That's right, because one of these idiots decided that he wanted those jars. None of you knew what was in them. He just thought, they look cool. He didn't understand that the first time you escaped was by pure luck, a fraction of the smallest chance. That tall, gangly, and inhuman monstrosity had simply underestimated the three pudgy American teens and their capability to really book it when their lives depended on it. A mistake it would never make again. Or perhaps it was just playing with you. The three of you narrowly escaped with your lives, but they goaded, pleaded, and even egged you on to go back in there with them. Now, because those damned jars, your life is back in jeopardy. The way back to the lab you found wasn't wound and twisted like the first time, though, so the two now running in front of you took it as reasoning for the notion that the nightmare was through, that the creature warping and stalking these halls had no hold over them now. You knew better. You knew what to do. It had left the other three of your friends alive in an attempt to bring you and the others back. Joke's on it. You thought they were already dead. It didn't matter much, though. They weren't long for this world, even after your assumptions were proven wrong. You enter into a large gymnasium. Much to your relief, the others from your party are sitting on the bleachers, dicking around, just how you had left them. You gave them a rundown of what had happened after the group had split. Their faces morphed from disbelief to concern to absolute terror as you told them of the trauma the three of you had been through. Regrouped and cautious as ever, you worked your way through the gym and hallways, past the boiler room, past the stairs that led to God knows where. Taking a right at the fork and following the pipes, you finally make it. The six of you grab what you can and get ready to leave. You turn to the door and swing it ajar to find the path, no longer one that you had come down. The hunt was on once more. The jars fell wayside and shattered upon the floor as all six of you began your dead sprint for life. You just had to make it to the exit. Two of them ignored you and ran into a janitor's closet, barring the door with a shelf, hoping that it couldn't break the barricade down. They were made short work of in the confined space they trapped themselves in. Don't they know what supernatural means? Things like this don't use our logic or rules of existence. If that monster was a musician, his course would be comprised of those two screams, his instruments, his hands, producing a cacophony of flesh ripping and bones snapping. One of them hesitated at the stairs as you desperately pleaded with him to keep running and follow you. The brief moment of indecision gave that thing long enough to work its way up behind him. You're just glad the door closed in time to avoid whatever made the loud bang a fraction of a second after his screams had stopped. However, that didn't stop your mind's morbid curiosity as the light from the viscera-stained window washed over your remaining party members with a sickening red-brown hue. The creature had already torn through half the group with only two wrong choices, just because they didn't listen to your well-versed knowledge of how horror movies and the paranormal work. It's mostly simple common knowledge and knowing your enemy. It took you one near-death brush with the thing to know exactly how to get away from it. The last three of you are coming up to a fork in the hallway. Left! That's the way out! You yell, hoping that for once they will heed your advice.
No, man, it's to the right! I remember this spot!
The others burst through the door and you follow, hoping for safety in numbers. As if on cue, the doors close and lock behind you like they had before, and the horror that has been on your heels shows itself. It teeters through a door far down the hallway, erecting itself, and closing the space in front of you off with its lumbering figure. You notice that there is a side door in between you and it, maybe 10 feet away from you. You would make a run for it, but you know that they wouldn't listen to you and run. The exit is probably not far off, as if this thing in front of you was attempting to add insult to injury. You slump against the door and accept your fate, knowing that even if you did make it to the exit, it would be no use. Your knowledge about such occult things assures you of that. Why don't they ever listen to you? For Christ's sakes, you were just trying to keep them alive. Who else were you going to let the string man kill as you ran through the exit?